Hey guys, welcome back. So today we are going to replacing the motor mount on my 83 Land Cruiser FJ60. So I've looked all over YouTube and I couldn't find any videos, anybody doing this project. So I figured, well, let me just go ahead and throw this up, and because I'm a YouTuber, so let's go ahead and share that information with you guys. Just a full disclaimer, I've never put in this particular part before, but I have replaced quite a few motor mounts, so it's really no different. So anyways, let's just talk about, first of all, why you might need to replace your motor mount. Well, if your engine rocks back and forth, or if you observed, in my case, I've got a manual transmission, so inside the shift lever rocks back and forth as I'm accelerating from like stop and go, for example. So if you're feeling or seeing those kind of symptoms, it's a good indicator that you might need to replace your transfer case mount, your transmission mount, or your motor mount. So there could be a lot of different factors, but in my case, it's this part right here, which I got from Spectre Off-Road, and this was, I believe, 80 some dollars, and I will leave those links down below. So this is not OEM, this is an aftermarket, but the reason why I like to buy from Spectre Off-Road is because they know all the parts that will fit into your Land Cruiser. There's no guessing, opposed to like if you go to Napa or you order something online from O'Reilly's, you don't know what you're getting most of the time. So if you buy from Spectre or a Land Cruiser shop, you're gonna be pretty much, pretty confident that's gonna fit. So without further ado, let's crawl under the truck and see what this project is all about. Now under the truck, and good thing about my truck is I got enough clearance where I don't need to really jack up the truck for safety. But what you do want to do is grab a jack like I have right here, get a wood block, and just kind of support your transfer case so that as you take that, we're going to be taking this part off right there. As we take that mount off, you got the load bearing on the jack. Okay, so again, that part I just showed you guys, there it is. It looks like it's just two bolts that needs to come out, and then we're gonna slide a new one in. It should be pretty simple, about a 20-minute project. So here we go. Okay, so let's take a closer look at the bolts that you'll be loosening up or taking off here. So right now we're at the front of the engine with the camera facing towards the back. So you have two bolts here, one right there, one on each side, and then right under this support here, you have two bolts, one here and one other side over here. And then on the back side, you have two bolts as well. So you have a total of 6 bolts that you'll need to remove to take out this mount. Okay, so now that we remove the 6 bolts out of here, there's actually 2 nuts on the bottom and then 4 bolts on the actual mount itself, and those are 17 millimeters. Okay, so next thing we got to do is remove this transmission plate under the truck, and there are several sections to this transmission plate. You can see this bracket right here. There's one on each side. Let me pan the camera over there. So here, a little more here, so you get a better visual. There we go. So here and here. There are 2 bolts on each side, and these are 14 millimeter bolts. So we're gonna go ahead and take these off. And I think that it should just kind of wiggle itself out once we get this 4 bolts. So let's go and do that real quick. This darn thing. Okay. Camera back a little bit here. Bolt was extremely loose. So scary. Okay, so that's off. Let's get the other side. Okay, so another update. I got these 4 bolts taken off. But it's just not going to come out because there's this little channel like this, like right here, and it's just not going to pull out without, me raising the transmission up any higher, which I don't want to do. So I think that I'm going to have to take one side of this original bracket off that mounts to the frame. So let me try that, and then I'll get back to you shortly. So stay tuned. So just want to remind you guys that we got all these bolts loose, and you want to be very mindful about what you're jerking around, because just a wrong move potentially could have a catastrophic outcome. So okay, so now I'm at a point where I should probably put a safety jack under here. I should have done that a long time ago. So now let's go ahead and continue to remove this bracket. So here we go. Here we go. Nice. Holy cow, that's heavy. Okay. Wow, look at all that gunk on this thing. So I'm gonna get that cleaned up. But here's that mount that is broken. Let me get a better light on this thing here so you guys can see what's going on. So yeah, this here was the problem child. Okay, so now that I got the bracket cleaned up and removed, I want to show you guys, this thing it's really hard to tell whether, to figure out which way is forward, which one's backwards, or which way to mount this thing. There's a little notch right here. So I did notice that when I took this off, the notch was facing towards the front of the truck. So we're gonna put it in just like this. Now that I got some of the stuff cleaned up, you can tell a big difference between the new one and the old one. The new one, there's no gaps between the plate and the rubber. And then if you look at the old one here, there's a little bit of gap on the top, on both sides, actually all the way around. So boy, this thing is heavy. It's got a lot of dirt. This plate had over 30 years of dirt accumulation. Okay, let's go ahead and put this back up. And on the plate here as well, there's that little notch I told you earlier about on the mount, on the transmission mount, the little notch, I think sits right there. So that's how you know this is facing towards the front of the truck. And the back does not have that. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and slide this. Oops, first of all, you got to remove these rubber thread protectors that's on the bolt. Okay. Just snug it down, not very tight. And I'll do the final adjustments. That's good. Okay, so we got it facing the right way here. Okay. Let me show you guys what I'm doing here. My help. I'm a horrible YouTuber here. Okay. So there's that. Okay, then we get the back side of the transmission out. Okay. Okay, I think I'm getting the hang of this now.
going on here? Okay. All right. So everything is supporting itself. So I hope you guys kind of got the idea what I'm trying to do here. Okay, and the last one. Awesome. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and tighten up the mount first. The motor mount to the transmission first. Then I will tighten up the transmission bracket here next. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pause the video here while I'm tightening up these mounts. At this point, it's all basically getting all the bolts tightened up, and they will be ready to go. So we'll be right back. So hold on. All right, guys. So I want to give you an update here. So one of the things I had to do was I had to get my bottle jack to square up this bracket, because once I got one side on that side buttoned up and just like a few twists of the nut, this side here wasn't quite lined up straight, so I had to push this bracket up with this bottle jack so that I can get a little more angle, because I just couldn't push up this brace high enough to get the bolt through this other bracket right here. So I mean, it's hard to explain, but once you guys start this job yourself, I think you'll kind of get what I'm talking about. So anyways, I'll give you just a heads up that you may need to use a bottle jack to push this brace up so you can get this little brace squared up. All right, so I'm going to continue tightening it all down. I'm pretty much at the end of my process here. So once I get all buttoned up, I'll come back and show you guys what I've done. Okay, so now I've got all the bolts kind of loosened here. Now I'm at the point where I can start tightening things up. Go. Okay, so right now I'm just getting everything snug. Then I'll come back through and torque everything down. Okay. Okay. Oh. Okay. Okay. Oh. Okay. And the last one here. Okay, that feels good. And this one here. All right, that's it.
Okay, so now that I'm all cleaned up, I got in the truck and let's go take it for a quick test drive to see if we resolve this motor mount issue. So before I install the motor mount, and this is why I'm a horrible YouTuber, and I should have shown this before and after. So when you start and go from stop and go, the shifter will rock back and forth like this, and it was pretty significant, like around 6 inches. It was pretty gross movement. So now let's go take it for a quick drive and let's see if it's moving or not. Zero movement. See, now in the past this thing would have been all over the place. Now it's rock steady. And even like when I decelerate or accelerate, you would see that shift knob moving around, and now there's zero movement. So if you guys have this similar problem, it could be your motor mount, most likely. So if you guys liked this video and found it helpful, make sure you guys give me a thumbs up, and if you would share and subscribe, that would be awesome. So until next time, thanks for watching.